We've all been there. That moment where your heart says no, but your mouth says, sure, I can do that. For years, I believed that being the person who always showed up, always helped, and always said yes was my greatest strength. But in reality, it was the very thing keeping me exhausted and stuck. After a lifetime of saying yes, this made the difference. It wasn't about becoming mean or selfish, it was a single perspective-shifting realization that changed everything. And if you stick around until we reach Chapter 4, the script of the respectful no, I'm going to show you exactly how to set a boundary without ever feeling like the bad guy. Chapter 1, the nice person trap. The problem starts with a deep-seated misunderstanding of what it means to be a good person. We've been conditioned to equate yes with kindness and no with rejection. We think that by being the reliable one, we're building value. But there is a dark side to being the person who never says no. It's called the nice person trap. When you are so afraid of letting others down, you end up letting yourself down every single day. You don't realize you're burnt out until the fire is already at your door. Eventually, the kindness you thought you were offering turns into resentment. You aren't helping people because you want to, you're helping them because you're afraid of what happens if you don't. And honestly, do you want to become a yes man? Chapter 2, becoming a resource for others. Being kind without boundaries isn't kindness, it's fear wearing a smile. Here is the reality we often ignore. When you say yes to others, you are almost always saying no to yourself. Time and energy are finite currencies. Every hour you spend on someone else's low-priority task is an hour stolen from your own goals, your rest, or your family. This is why setting boundaries is not an act of aggression, it's an act of survival. A boundary is simply a line that defines where you end and where the rest of the world begins. Without that line, you aren't a self-driven person, you're becoming a resource for others. We need to stop treating our yes like it's an infinite resource. It's expensive. And if you've ever felt the weight of a yes you didn't want to give, hit that like button. It helps me know that this message is hitting home for you. Chapter 3, the great social filter. One of the biggest barriers to saying no is the fear of social suicide. We think if I stop doing everything for everyone, they won't like me anymore. And here's the hard truth. You might be right. If you've ever felt the fear of losing a friend just for saying no, I can assure you you're not alone. You may have seen that moment when you said no and then you felt like crumbling because you didn't want to disappoint your friend. But some people are only in your life because of your utility. They don't love you genuinely, they just overexploit what you do for them. When you start setting boundaries, these people will be the first to complain. They might call you different or selfish, but trust me, this is actually a gift. Ask yourself, do you need these energy-draining friends around? I once agreed to spend a Friday evening helping a colleague finish her project for college, and the 1-hour assistance turned into a long night. By 4 a.m., I barely managed to fall asleep, and then I spent the entire weekend angry at everyone, including myself. Saying no is the ultimate social filter. It clears out the people who were only using your kindness and makes room for the true friends who respect your time and your true self. You don't need the approval of people who only value you when you're serving them. Chapter 4, the script of the respectful no. So how do you actually do it? How do you say no without burning bridges? You use a simple 3-step formula that I call the respectful no. 1. Acknowledge. Start by validating the request. I appreciate you thinking of me for this, or I can see why this is important. This ensures the person feels heard and you respect their request. 2. Motivate. Briefly state why you can't do it. Do not over-explain. I'm currently focusing all my energy on a personal deadline, or I've already committed this weekend to rest, so I'm not available. You don't need to debate your reason. Keep it short. 3. Offer an alternative. If you want to remain helpful, point them toward a different solution. I can't help with the move, but I can lend you my truck, or I can't do this today, but let's check back in 2 weeks. This assertive formula allows you to maintain the relationship while protecting your peace. Chapter 5, reclaiming your meaningful yes. The goal isn't to say no to everything. The goal is to be radically selective. Your yes is a superpower, but it loses its strength when you use it on things that don't matter. From now on, your yes should be reserved for the moments when you really feel it's a great idea, those moments that align with your values and your long-term vision. When you clear away the clutter of everyone else's priorities, you finally have the space to focus on the ideas that are truly meaningful to you. We talk about reclaiming your life and your time like this every week. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss the next lesson in this journey. Chapter 6: The Difference Maker. In the end, the difference wasn't just a word. It was the realization that my time is my life. By learning to say no, I didn't lose my kindness, I found my self-respect. A boundary isn't rejection, it's direction. I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below about a time when you said yes to something, but later you regretted it. What was the lesson you learned from that experience? I'll be down there reading and responding to your stories. Remember, you aren't responsible for everyone else's happiness, but you are 100% responsible for your own. And if you enjoyed this video, I'll be happy to see you in the next one.